In consideration of increased political polarization and the implications of indoctrination, conversations surrounding the position of political bias in education have taken place. Social studies departments are particularly affected by these conversations and criticisms. Jill Merkel is a social studies teacher who is head of the department at St. Louis Park High School. She is a social studies coordinator for the St. Louis Park School District as well. According to her, in pursuing educational excellence and facilitating meaningful conversations, one cannot be entirely unbiased. Despite this, she claims that there is a fine line between showing bias and fostering an academic space where students feel silenced.
I think that it really depends on what we're talking about with political bias, because I don't think that there is such thing as not being biased. I think that we all, like, with whatever information we're deciding to deliver or not deliver, there's bias in all of that, and so there's no way to truly be neutral. I think where people can run into an issue is when their political bias shuts down students, right? And students don't feel that their voice can be like, or that they can say what they want to say, or believe what they want to believe, and that is an issue.
Junior Lydia Anderson said she believes that political bias is prevalent in academic spaces and might be a barrier to collective understanding. According to her, political bias is propagated by teachers because of their authority in the classroom.
I feel like most people lean one way, and if someone doesn't lean that way, then there's some judgment. I think the power that teachers have, they have the power to influence opinions. I feel like it's obvious that teachers try to be very neutral, but it's also sometimes you can tell when one teacher sways a different way, even though they avoid saying that straight up.
Merkel said that, though there are rumors of political bias needing to be addressed, she has not seen any formal complaints regarding both the academic conversations being held and the social studies curriculum at St. Louis Park High School.
I know that there's always kind of rumblings of that, and I have not personally received notification about issues around that. I believe our administration might have, but never at a local or more local level as a teacher, and within my department. I think my department does a pretty good job of giving kids space to just say what they're thinking.
In opposition to this, Junior Isaac Schulman said he believes political bias has greatly affected his education, as in his social studies classes, academic content and peer discussions have been one-sided politically. According to him, tensions were heightened by the 2024 presidential election, which became a topic of interest in many of his classes.
We definitely learn, especially in history classes, we definitely learn a lot more of the liberal side. And then definitely in some of my other classes, especially after the election, some of the teachers were not very happy about it, and definitely impacted my learning. In a couple of my classes, our whole lesson got changed just so we could if about it. And I think that if the election went the other way, I don't think that would have happened. I feel if we're talking about political stuff, that definitely they want you to have the same opinion as the teacher, and I feel like sometimes it feels like you don't have your own opinion on things.
Despite this, Anderson believes that in her social studies classes, all students have a place and are represented. All political perspectives are articulated through content and defended in academic discussions.
I feel like it's definitely catered to both views. There's not just one view. I feel like it's pretty open to both sides.
Conversations surrounding political bias in education present conversations surrounding indoctrination. In consideration of this, Merkel said that there is indoctrination by all political factions, and that is why it is important that teachers have varying content pieces and focus on context.
The sense of indoctrination is everything that we give students in that way, so it's really important to have multiple sources and multiple different perspectives on a single event, for instance, and to show that and know that you're never going to be able to do it all. in that way. I think of political indoctrination often gets used in the sense of like really kind of liberal radical as opposed to like conservative, what do I want to say? Yeah, just like that kind of conservative realm. And so I think that like there are ways on both sides that we indoctrinate kids, and so how do we make sure that we are able to like interrupt common narratives and ask questions?
Both Anderson and Shulman agree that political bias is inevitable. With optimism, Anderson states that a neutral position could be taken. Shulman said he disagrees, claiming that in political conversations and studying content associated with political positions, one perspective will be more affirmed.
I feel like it's possible. It's definitely difficult because obviously people are going to sway one way or the other, but I think it's possible to like come off as neutral.
I mean, if they're going to teach about politics, there's always going to be bias to whatever side that they're on, because I think we could learn about it from two different perspectives possibly, but I think if only one person is going to be teaching about it, it's only going to be definitely bias.
In conclusion, there will always be a debate regarding political bias and indoctrination in education. According to Merkel, though, the Social Studies Department at St. Louis Park High School is committed to state standards and to ensuring all students are seen and heard.
I mean, again, it's like, I think especially with like teaching history and social studies, it's everywhere because history is so massive. We could spend an entire year talking about like one event, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be really hard within like how we pick and choose things to make sure that we are getting lots of different perspectives. And that's where I think it's important to use different kind of texts, different kind of events, but also just like give students a lot more like freedom for them to explore their own like beliefs as well. And I would say too that like we need to like uphold the social studies standards that are given to us by the state. And so when you look at those standards, you know, even within those standards, there's going to be bias, right? And like that kind of thing. So we still like will do the best we can to make sure that we are hitting the state standards so that everyone is getting like a similar education on those concepts regardless of what school they attend.